Hi, I'm Cavin Elizabeth, a wedding photographer based in San Diego. Today's video topic is going to be all about tips for bilingual weddings. So whether you and your significant other come from different language backgrounds or maybe just your families, this is a really great video to help you guys ensure that both of your cultures, traditions, languages are included and that all of your guests feel very welcome at your wedding. The first one is to actually have your invitation be bilingual if that is the case for your wedding. So if you guys have a German and an English side of your family, then you could definitely do something like this invitation here, which is a really great way to include both people and make sure that everybody can read it, everybody can join in on the fun. Now, the next one is to actually have your ceremony be bilingual or have some different multicultural elements to it to include both of your traditions in one ceremony if you don't want to separate them into two. Now, one thing I will say, because I have once seen a wedding where the officiant did the entire wedding in English and then did the entire wedding in Spanish. That was very long and it was a Catholic ceremony, so it was almost a 2-hour ceremony. Please don't do that. Your guests do not want to sit there for 2 hours. So instead of copying the entire wedding, maybe you guys can just say the most important parts in both languages, or maybe you can read your vows in different languages. I just don't recommend doing the entire ceremony if it's going to be pretty long in both languages. If your ceremony is only 10 minutes long, sure, that's great. But if your ceremony is going to be 30 to 45 to an hour, I would not double it. That's just my advice. It's just a long time to be standing up there, to have your guests sitting there, especially if it's hot or the sun is in their eyes. So please make sure that you are being wise when you are deciding how much of your wedding should be bilingual, because you do need to be considerate of the guest. Another way that you guys can really infuse both languages or both cultures into the wedding is through your decor. So I've had weddings where one side was Persian, one side was Chinese, so they took different elements, different foods from each of their cultures, displayed them around cocktail hour, or maybe they have sort of different activities that can be going on to represent both cultures. Whatever it may be, you guys can get really creative with infusing both customs in your wedding. Maybe you guys want to do an outfit change halfway through the wedding to represent the other culture that you hadn't done yet. There's so many different options that you have to really infuse both languages and both cultures into the wedding. One thing I would recommend, if you have, for example, a parent giving a toast in one language that half the room can't understand, that might not be a bad idea to have some sort of interpreter up there if your parent cannot speak both languages. So that way everybody knows what's being said in the toast, and it's really helpful. So that's a great idea. Again, the toasts are usually pretty short, so it's not a bad thing to have it interpreted as somebody is going. It's something that will definitely be very much appreciated by your guests because they can all understand what is being said about you guys. Now, the last one is a little bit more vague, but it's basically just to incorporate different traditions from each culture or each language into the wedding. So perhaps you want to do a Chinese tea ceremony, or you want to do some sort of soirée to incorporate into your wedding, whatever it may be. Honor your different traditions and put them into your wedding. Now, I know sometimes the traditions can be more cared about by the parents, so it is a nice thing to make your parents happy if they're pushing for these things, even if you don't really want it. But basically, make sure whatever you're including, you are comfortable with at least, and that you are going to enjoy it, or at least don't mind doing it for your parents. I know sometimes parents or grandparents can be more traditional when it comes to incorporating these things into the wedding, but it's, again, something that you should discuss with your significant other, but decide together how much of each culture you want to infuse. Or perhaps you don't want to have it very cultured at all in that aspect, and maybe you just simply want to have some things in 2 different languages. So you can do either or. Maybe there's everybody speaks English, but you come from different cultures, you can infuse that. Or maybe there aren't significant cultural elements, there's just simply 2 different languages. So whatever your wedding is, however blended it is, definitely decide together what you guys want to include to honor both sides of your families and whatever makes you comfortable. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye!